Rebar.
Oh, geez, I'm reeling,
Freaking Rebar. Really?
I just finished watching. You know that? You saw me as I was finishing watching.
I saw you sawing this.
Yeah.
I saw you seeing this.
Man, I want to get a hacksaw and saw through some metal to get my man, out of that spot.
That is
But
Rebar.
golly.
So before we go any further, we're just going to go right into this. So spoilers. There are going to be huge spoilers for The Walking Dead. Mainly the show. There could be some comics in there. Of course,
draw
we'll
some
give
parallels,
you warnings, but still, spoiler, go.
Oh, geez, where are we starting? Where are we? We're jumping right into
right to the end, man.
Okay, all right, we're gonna do it.
Rebar through the gut. Now, what I can say is I can appreciate the parallels here.
Yeah,
there was a big. So we already had Daryl who also dropped like the first F-bomb.
Yeah.
Ever during the show. Like we've had it in DVD extras and alternate scenes and stuff, but this is the first time in like straight to TV, because I think that they got permission to use the F word twice a season. They didn't use it any last season, and Daryl used it once this season. Yep. I mean, like I said, we had Rick at the end of season 5. End of season 4 when the Terminus people had him. He was like, they're screwing with the wrong people. On the DVD, you had an alternate version where he said they're effing with the wrong people. But this is the first time, like in the show, no alternate scene, nothing. Somebody just drops an F-bomb. But, when Daryl was like, you wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Glenn, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the episode, the horse, but it was just like Atlanta. Rick rides in on a horse, gets surrounded on both sides, which I guess that is the definition of being surrounded. But, there's zombies on each side of him. The horse freaks out and it bucks him. Only this time he didn't land on the streets of Atlanta and have Glenn's awesome self to help him. He landed on a piece of rebar.
Oh, my God.
Do you think that rebar, I mean, obviously, I think that he's going to be bleeding out and hallucinating, but I mean, that's like the same place that Tony Stark got stabbed by Thanos, and, he was fine for the most part. He also had that awesome foam stuff to spray on himself.
Yeah, that's true.
But still.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just for one thing, he's got to be going into shock, I guess. Getting impaled seems like a pretty horrendous thing to happen. And who knows, he might have, hit his head, on that concrete when I don't know.
I really,
but man, I mean, like Daryl, what was he riding off to do something so important he couldn't have Rick's back while he was corralling like a giant herd of zombies? I mean, did I miss something?
I guess he wanted them to kind of go message or let them know that this was happening. I would have been like, get on the dirt bike and we'll lead them off. Which Rick might have been like, no, I'm not falling for that. Get on the dirt bike bullshit again. But man, again. If they hadn't have done the Rick and Daryl beef last season, this feels a lot more generic. This feels a lot more organic. It feels natural. This beef, I believe. I understand why Daryl's a little irritated with him. I understand why they're at odds. Whereas last season, so it's like if I hadn't have, I've said it several times this season. If I hadn't just gotten done with a Rick and Daryl beef from season 8, this would, I think, be a lot more. Oh man, damn, Rick and Daryl at odds. Yeah. What are the odds?
Just like I said, Daryl is, I don't know, man. I can't handle it.
And then, of course, when Rick leaves, Daryl's like, be safe, considering I was just trying to beat your ass a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it was almost like a condescending be safe, That's how it came off to me. I don't know.
What if he'd have just been like, be safe, and when Rick turned around... But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that, I don't know. You know what? We got to... Let me move to other stuff because I'll stay on Rick all day. Next week's the last episode of Rick Grimes, to our knowledge, ever. It's going to be really sad. If you saw the scenes from next week's episode, let me just say, if it is his real sign off and he's dying, which I think that Rick is going to die, it looks amazing. Some of the things they're doing next week.
Yeah, I haven't seen the
mind blowing. I'm not even going to tell you what. Just so when it happens, it's a big shock to you.
Yeah, I like going in super fresh.
I know you do. That's what I like. Is JP doesn't like anything spoiled. If I even tell him what color shirt Rick's wearing, he's irritated. He's like, "Come on, man, that could have had something to do with the scene."
But man, a good episode. I love the opener.
Oh,
the opener was
that
great.
Michonne, man, that was awesome. I really, when I came in, you were watching it, and you were like, "I love the opening," and I was like, "Dude, I thought it was."
I tell you one thing though, I know why she's out there stabbing zombies.
Why's that?
Cause Rick ain't doing no stabbing in the bedroom.
What?
She wouldn't be getting up in the middle of the night, going out wandering in the woods if Rick was handling things.
I think Rick's been doing some stabbing.
Man, I'm not saying he hadn't been at all, but I'm just saying, when my girl lays down at the end of the night, she's not going off, walking up the road. You see what I mean?
That's because you lock the door and don't let her out.
Well, that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Now, look, and no, she is not getting the key. But what I'm saying is, come on now, Rick. If your girl's got that much energy in the middle of the night, you're not doing something right. And that's just, Dr. J.P. Ruth, coming
I've never had my girlfriend get up and go out to kill zombies in the middle of the night. So,
she's not like a midnight vigilante, right? Because she ain't got that much energy,
Not to my knowledge. She is tired all the time, though, so maybe...
Holla. Yeah, but anyway, no, that was just the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, well, I really like the focus on Michonne this episode, too. Again, I love how they flash between different things, man. If they keep that up, I will not probably have too many complaints on the show.
And you can kind of see that Michonne is capable of handling the community, the day-to-day operations, and what's likely to be Rick's absence.
My favorite character other than Rick. Rick's my boy, man. We started with Rick. I love Rick, but Michonne's my second. That could be where they're going because I've heard Angela Kang has said that it won't be a main protagonist going forward. It's going to be split between like Michonne and Daryl and Rosita and these other members, which we can kind of see that because they're doing a lot of these multiple story episodes. But man, she did. I like the little music that would be playing too. Like,
that was great.
During the day, she's kind of like Carol in a way, not as innocent acting, but during the day she's just business as usual. Michonne, she's directing and leading people and solving problems and just being a town leader that people can go to. And at night, she's viciously hacking up the undead.
Man, what do you think was up with that walker that was hanging from the tree that was all new stuff?
I don't know.
What was up with that? Was that a savior that they had killed? Was it somebody just hung a walker up for fun? What's going on
I was
there?
the same way. I was a little distracted because the World Series was going on last night, too.
Oh, boy.
Go Red Sox. Woo! 2018 champions. But I was on another podcast when they won back in 2013. We had an entire podcast about the Red Sox.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
not one I could really contribute to
or enjoy.
Not a sports guy, but God bless.
But I was wondering about that, Hank, because she seemed very upset by it. It might have just been some symbolism there of I don't know.
Yeah, like
maybe
it kind of looked
she's
like
heading down a self-destructive path or something. I don't.
Oh.
But I really, really dug the Michonne Negan conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was
Negan
a great job
real.
on both sides, man. We already know Denai Guerrera can act. She's everything she's in, she's great. And we know Jeffrey Dean Morgan can act. And, that's really one of the first times we've really seen them put together. We've had them talk on the walkie-talkie last season when she read Negan Carl's letter. And then we had her in front of Negan basically in that clearing. And then when she dropped, it was it's always been very little interactions. Like she's never had we never really saw her having one-on-one interaction with Negan. It's always been in a group or very brief. So it was really cool to listen to them conversate.
And man, that's got to be rough. He's not just confined to the cell. Apparently, he's in darkness most of the time. It seems.
Yeah. He's rotting. And Rick said what you had said when he and Daryl were in that hole. I don't want Negan to become a martyr. That's what you've been saying. If you execute him, that's the problem you have is that he becomes this martyr that could inspire other people to.
And they've got to understand. Negan is basically buried alive right now. That is a fate way worse than death.
Oh, absolutely. I keep thinking death in that situation would be mercy. Just put me out of my misery. I don't want to wake up every morning. And people go crazy and little. You know what I mean? It's insanity inducing. I know he gets to talk to other people, but he's kept in a little bitty cell in the dark all day away from only a few people. Just kill me, man.
That's what I'm saying. I had to go to court, the other week, and this dude was there. He was, he had been to jail. Now he was going through trial, yada, yada. But he said he was in solitary for a few weeks. And one dude that had been in there for years killed himself by lighting his mattress on fire just so he could inhale the smoke and die of smoke inhalation.
Really?
That's how nuts it is,
We want interaction with other people. We even when we are having antisocial days, at our core, most humans, it's in our nature. We want to interact with other people.
I could exist as a hermit, but not like closed in a little 8x10 cell.
Right. At least you have the world around you. I think it's the fact of knowing that there are people out there, and even if you don't want to interact with them, they're out there, and if you want to, you can. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Negan's situation, it's you're just stuck here. And you only interact with whoever comes down here. pretty much Michonne or Rick or the chick who said that.
I'm going to be so pissed off if Daryl like rode off just so he could coordinate with Maggie so they could go into out. Like he was just like, no,
I think Daryl.
You think he was heading back to the camp? I think everyone. Well, Carol's there, so you would imagine he'd.
And Carol, man, probably Rick and Carol's last conversation there.
Yeah,
when she's was packing up and going back.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad. I mean, they both kind of had tears in their eyes. Like it's like they subconsciously knew this is the end. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe Rick will talk to her before he dies, but it just kind of felt like this was it.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's it. I mean,
do you still think that Rick's going to die, or do you think that there's a chance? Because when we'll get to Jadis and Gabriel, I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Gabraham.
Yeah,
Gabriel here in just a little bit, but something going on there. We still don't quite know what's happening, but.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe Rick could be her A, I mean, we might not see him die, but he might have a bite and get, flown off to wherever.
Or maybe, instead of a bite, excuse me, it's early. Sorry, how rude. Maybe because he's injured, Jadis will take him as her A. I don't know. I feel like he's going to die. I feel like Rick Grimes is going to die. But we've had comments from Andrew Lincoln, like when he said, my relationship with this character is far from over.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that could mean things like Comic Cons and, maybe the occasional flashback or something. Like, I wouldn't put it past that Rick Grimes wouldn't be in some point of, some kind of flashback at some point, maybe. But
so you think Rick is just going to become a walker and just walk off in the herd?
I think he's going to get to say his final goodbyes to some people. Like, I think he'll make it to them as he's dying, and that's what. But I do think that would be. Like I've said it before, I can't remember. I hate not to be able to give credit to him. I can't remember who did it, but somebody had a great video about a lone walker theory about, they keep showing that lone walker that Shane saw that time, and we thought it represented Shane feeling alone and things like that, but it actually was to represent Rick. And basically we were going to have Rick turn into a zombie and just wander off. Like, I think that would be bittersweet. You know what I mean? And then some no-name character down the road just kills him real easy and not knowing. That's the thing about zombies, too. Like, the philosophical thing is, like, when you kill, like, you just don't. To you, they're just this mindless eating machine, and you should kill them, but, like, you don't know their history. Like, somebody will come by and just whack zombie Rick over the head and kill him and not realize, like, do you know who that was? Mm-hmm. That was, like, our George Washington. Yeah. This was a legend of a man. I mean, so. I don't know. I feel like he's going to die in Michonne's arms, most likely. And then somebody... Oh, man. I
don't even like thinking about it.
Man. I feel like somebody's going to put him down. Wonder if he'll do like Carl and which, no, because he hadn't been bit. Never mind. I was going to say, like, maybe shoot himself. But he hasn't been bit. He's just bleeding out. So when he would turn would be when he died. So somebody will have to probably put him down. I'm not ready for this, man.
I really don't like talking about it. I'm being very uncomfortable right now.
I really don't like this. I told my girlfriend, in all seriousness, I said, you're going to watch it upstairs. I'm going to watch it in the man cave in the basement. I'm going to lock the door because I can't guarantee I'm not going to get a little emotional here. This is Rick Grimes, like my favorite character in the history of my shows, man.
Because I have to watch on Amazon Prime, so I'm watching it in the morning. So you're
oh man, I'm gonna come in like red eyed and be like,
yeah,
you never know, maybe he lives. You'll be able to look at me and tell if Rick flies off or if he dies. Like, I'll come in trying to be all spoiler free, and I'm like, he could live.
Let's talk about Jadis. So she's got Father Gabriel all tied up, and she's got her zombie biter thing, and so it looks like she's sending people off bitten, which doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It looks like they have to be bit before they get sent, which again makes me wonder. Okay, well, if that's the case, then what's A and B? Like, what is the relevance of that?
Yeah, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it seems like, okay, maybe there's like a group of scientists who want to study, the infection, and they want people who are infected, but it seems like they would be doing that themselves so they can, like, because I mean, from a scientific standpoint, you want to, chart everything, like the exact moment they're bitten, how they're bitten, how deep it is,
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't seem like
variables into studying.
It seems
how
like
this
you
works.
would want to do that yourself. You wouldn't want, just a specimen that's bitten, and I don't know.
Well, it feels like you don't have it. I don't feel like you have to have them, you could just go out and get zombies then. if you're, like you said, you're not recording when they got bit, unless Jadis is keeping up with that stuff. But if they're just like, we just want someone who's been infected. Okay, well then go grab a zombie. And maybe that's what A and B is. Maybe that's, no, because she told Gabriel, I thought you were a B. So no, we'll say maybe that's what A and B is. Maybe.
I guess they want like a living subject and watch them as the infection takes them out. But like I said, it just seems like they would want them, from the moment of the bite.
They would be the one to let the zombie bite them.
Just to control every single variable in the experiment, Yeah. But maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Maybe they don't have the...
That's why we're here.
Yeah, maybe they don't have the chutzpah to actually have someone bitten themselves. Maybe they need someone doing the dirty work, which seems like they would just get Jadis to come... I don't know. I don't overthink.
I really want to know. I feel like we are going to find out more next... next episode will definitely be focused on the leaving of Rick. But I hate that we know, too.
Yeah.
That's one thing, too. It's like it's a blessing and a curse. Like, it's coming. You kind of prepare for it. But it's also... It kind of sucks because... I know it's going to happen, and then they showed. I really wish they wouldn't have shown previews from next week's episode.
I'm going to try to avoid them.
Really wish they wouldn't have, and I know they have to, but just what I saw would be so cool to experience with to not expect it whatsoever and to see it. So
it's like when someone dies on Game of Thrones. A lot of times you don't see it coming at all.
No.
I'm not going to drop any names because maybe some people haven't watched it. But
can you imagine if Rick was going to die though, and it didn't leak? And, we saw last night's episode and we're like, what the hell? Like, all right, there's no way he's dead, and then however next week, whatever happens. And then you just imagine how shocked we would be, how devastating that would be. It's still going to be, but you kind of have a little time to mentally prepare for it. I know I have. I've thought about it over and over again.
Yeah. What else is there to think about right now?
The Red Sox winning the World
Series. There's the World Series, midterm elections, but all I'm thinking about is Rick Grimes. Yeah, that's all I'm thinking about. There's a new doctor. There are other things going on in the world, but
I keep yelling. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm being very rude. I'm so tired, man. Number one.
You had a full day yesterday.
Yeah, right? We had Martinsville Speedway. Which is a little ways from us, but we always usually work that. So I was at that. That's super. I still had to get up at like 4:35 in the morning, but we didn't get there super, super early, but we were there all day, and it's just a long ride there, and then it's a long ride back, and you walk all over the place, and then I stayed up to watch The Walking Dead and the World Series.
Telling you, man, you need to start getting the big boss man to spring for y'all to just get a room for those Sunday nights. Just finish with the race and stay there and come back in the morning.
Yeah, I can't stop.
I'm telling you, brother,
it just won't stop. I think that means I need to go home and go to bed. But I had these people at a local, well, they're not local, they're a corporate chain, but I had a shop change my brakes, if you remember, a few weeks ago. This morning it sounded like two Transformers were fighting in the backside of my car, so I'm taking it back to them this morning. So I'm hoping they,
see my boys on Riverside.
I need to.
Yeah, they'll do beautiful things for you.
These people already charged me, so they should fix.
Yeah, definitely get them to write that.
But yeah, great. I'm trying to think if there's much else. Number one, two, because I'm focused on is Rick. Like I feel so neglectful because there is a lot to talk about this episode, but all I can think about is that ending scene, man. Like it just hit me right in the gut. Like it was kind of like the signaling that this is real.
It's happening.
You hear he's leaving in episode 5.
You don't want to believe it,
and you're just kind of like, whatever. And it's kind of like when you're losing somebody in real life. Like if you know they're going, and it's kind of a long, drawn out process. It sucks, but like you sometimes don't want to accept it. And then some people have trouble when it finally happens, accepting that it's happened. Like, you think you're going to have more time. And it's kind of what I've been going through with Rick is like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, he's going to die in 5. But whatever. I'm just watching these episodes as they happen with my boy Rick.
Living
and then
in the moment.
It ends like it does. And you're just like, oh my God, like this is legit. This is really happening. Next episode, Rick Grimes is gone.
He's supposed to be having a baby, man. He's...
Yeah.
Reminds me of the last scene, or one of the last scenes. Well, yeah, it's basically the last scene in Unforgiven. You see that with Clint Eastwood?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
He kills, like, he's getting ready to kill Gene Hackman. He's already shot him. Gene Hackman's laying on the floor, He's like, I don't deserve this. This shouldn't happen to me. I was building a house. And Clint Eastwood's just like, deserve's got nothing to do with it. And bam.
Bam.
And, Rick doesn't deserve this, but at the end of the day, deserve's got nothing to do with it.
Yep. Well, I mean, and this is the apocalypse. I mean, it's really not a terrifying situation if plot armor keeps you alive anyways. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
So it's like,
and I like that it was something, not random, but just getting bucked by a horse is what did it. It wasn't like some grand assassination plot. It wasn't, this or that.
Right.
It was just, just happenstance. He was trying to do what he thought was right, be the hero.
His luck ran out, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not that he's not a badass and that he doesn't have skill, but Rick has had some very lucky moments, and it's like his luck just ran out because like I said, there was a parallel there, I feel, to the first episode. Rick's on a horse. He gets surrounded. The horse bucks him. Luckily, in episode 1, there's a tank there that he climbs into to get some shelter. And then, Glenn finds him. And then because of Glenn, he gets back with his wife and his son. And just all of these fortunate, circumstantial things that could have just as easily not have happened. And then this time, his luck just ran out. The horse bucked him. And instead of landing on the ground he landed on a freaking piece of rebar. And like you said, I like that too. It's just like, screw you, rebar.
Daryl jinxed him, man, bringing up Atlanta and Glenn and all that stuff, man.
That's a good question in the comment section. Are you mad at Daryl for
I know
this?
I am.
I mean, because I get what Daryl was doing. Like I'm glad there was no assassination plot. Like Daryl wasn't trying to hurt him or trying to kill him or anything. He just simply was trying to get him away long enough so that Maggie could do what he felt was right. So it's like, I'm not saying Daryl was right, but I don't feel like Daryl was a terrible bad guy here either. We of course, and we might be a little partial to Rick's side because we know that Rick's leaving. Mm-hmm. But Daryl doesn't know that like we do. Daryl just thinks this is another day in the life of. This is Rick's been with him from almost the beginning, and to him, Rick's not going to die. So he's just like, I'm going to distract Rick long enough for you to get in there and kill Negan, and we'll deal with what happens after. So I don't like that Daryl did what he did. I think it was jacked up, but I don't hate him for it. You know what I mean? I hated him when he punched Negan and got Glenn killed, though.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm done with Daryl. I hope he's next. Kill him, Negan.
Oh man!
Let's have 3 deaths in one episode. So screw it.
What do you see going down with the sanctuary now that the saviors are kind of they're leaving them to their own design?
We don't even know what happened in that scenario. Guns were drawn. Carol remember? Wasn't I just telling you last week? We were talking about just a little martial arts and stuff, and I was telling you just like one thing that I had learned about kicking someone in the leg. Uh-huh. If you kick the side is a great place if you're trying to get away from someone, because if you kick them in the side of the leg, it's a weaker part of that area, and it's easier to crack, and it takes them down. Well, I'm just telling you about that 3 days ago, and then Carol kicks this guy right in that part of the leg, and I'm like, I hope JP's paying attention.
Notes, yeah.
If it works for Carol, it works for me.
I'm telling you, man.
But we don't know what happened with that. There were gunshots that we heard from the pit with Rick and Daryl, and then we never went back. There were some dead walkers, I guess they were walkers or people, but they were dead. Maggie and her escort found those bodies.
Yeah, I was wondering if those were some that Michonne had taken out during the night, but there was like a hatchet or something.
Right, I thought it was Rick's hatchet at first, you know what I mean? So, maybe Rick and then had fought through some, but we don't know what happened with that. I don't think Carol got shot, but...
Were those like fresh corpses, or were they walkers?
I thought they were walkers.
Dead walkers,
was what I thought, but... I could be wrong. Let us know in the comment section. Fresh corpses or walkers? I thought they were walkers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then I was thinking about the hatchet in the back, and somebody we know from the comics likes to throw little axes.
Oh, what do you think of that?
Probably not, but
that would be bad. We said it last week. I think how badass it would be if Mr. Mercer stepped up.
You never know.
Oh, and correction. Apparently, according to Tudor the Walking Dead, we had said that Beta in the comics, spoiler alert, but we said that he was a basketball player, but apparently he was a baseball player. It's funny that we both read basketball player. I remember when we read if you go back through our comic reviews and you watched that episode and we had just read the comic, we said that he was a basketball player. So I guess it's the Mandela effect.
It must be. Yeah, it must be.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Carol and her people, man. The savior. I'm telling you what, though, they're doing a good job of casting douchebag saviors. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had the long-haired guy that Morgan dispatched awesomely. We had Rapey Davy.
Yeah.
We had the other guy who sided with Simon and then ended up getting killed by Negan when Simon was going to betray Negan. He was the guy that that spit on Anne and everything. You know what I'm talking
about? Yeah.
Then we've also we've had Simon was a douche, but I like Simon. I mean, I thought he was a great villain. I would have loved to have seen Simon like broke off from Negan and maybe come back later as his own villain with his own people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now this savior, straight up douchebag. Like they gave you a chance. It's kind of showing that sometimes Rick's way is not going to work. Sometimes these people, you give them chances. They don't always have these cinematic moments where they're like, wow, I need to change my ways. Sometimes people are just bad people.
I mean, everyone's working to undermine what Rick's trying to do. Seaside's going around murdering saviors.
I was going to say, and I understand the savior's point.
Or whatever.
I get their point of, so Oceanside's the one that killed, was killing us. They're after us. I get why they would be that way, but still, that doesn't make that guy no less of a douchebag.
No, he's definitely a dick. And I mean, there are some saviors with an axe to grind, but I mean, the fact that Oceanside's taking it upon themselves to go all vigilante and start killing people, and the fact that the Hilltop is just looking for a reason to start wiping out saviors again. I mean, it's
just take your stuff and go, though. You know what I mean? Like, we're going back to Sanctuary. Leave us alone.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they wrote up any kind of like charter or like peace accord.
It's kind of like an enemy occupied. Like after a war where a country will occupy. They don't necessarily take over the country, but they occupy it for a while until they get everything sorted out.
The Sanctuary is a lot like post-World War I Germany, the international community is kind of shitting on Germany because and my history's probably fraught with inaccuracies. But, from what I understand, like all of Europe was, shitting on Germany because they held them responsible for World War I. And then the right guy comes along and is like, hey, Germany, we don't have to put up with this, and builds them up into an even bigger war machine. And next thing you know,
World War II happened.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of that was probably horribly inaccurate, nonetheless.
Well, I mean, it is, like I said, it's basically, I'm sure it's something to that effect where...
Yeah, I mean, you got to make peace, and you got to treat even the loser, even if they were at fault, you got to treat them humanely. You got to, work to either that or completely wipe them out. I mean, one or the other. You can't just dance around it. They either need to wipe out everyone at the Sanctuary or make nice.
I would, I don't know. I'd like blindfold all of them and then just drive them like hours and hours away and then just drop them off at somewhere that looks safe and be like, all right, so now here's the deal. Man. You don't know where we are. We don't know where you are. Here's a lot of supplies. There's a nice place for you to stay. Survive and leave us alone. And we're going to leave you alone.
You're taking it back to, what was it, 22 Miles Out or something? Season 2, the Rick and Shane showdown, taking that kid,
Yep. Man, that was, that's
one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Absolutely.
If I was Rick, I would have went out there and I'd been like, look, Shane, we got to kill this kid, obviously, but, I don't want my son to know that. So let's just, take him out here, kill him, and
tell everybody else, we let him go.
Everybody wins. We don't look like
But then Rick wouldn't be the character that we know and love. I mean, that just wasn't Rick. That was Shane, and that's what. And once you start down that path, it's a very dark path of lying, and Rick just wasn't that kind of guy. Like Rick was only going to lie to someone if it would keep his group safe and keep But yeah, I know that would be a big effort. I know some people take everything you say so literally. It's like, no, I really wouldn't drive all the saviors out and drop them off. I'm just saying, like that would be a peaceful solution. In a perfect world, I just would snap my fingers and they'd be too far away from us to know how to get to us. We don't know how to get to them. Let them just do their own thing, man. Like you don't want us. And that's the thing. You've got, you got some people in the Sanctuary that think that Negan needs to come back, and then you got some people that are glad Negan's locked up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it'd just be like, I would just divide. Okay, who wants us to leave? Raise your hands. All right, cool. You guys stay here. Anyone that didn't raise your hand, come on back with us. We're going to take care of you, and the rest of you can just have your own little sovereign state here.
And maybe what should have happened to give some closure, maybe they should have had like a wartime tribunal, like tried certain saviors for war crimes, like, hey, you were infecting people with tainted weapons, we're going to try you for this, you killed like innocent children at Oceanside. I mean, maybe that's, maybe they should have done that. But.
Yeah, it's like when Hitler was, when Hitler killed himself or whatever, depending on who you asked. Mm-hmm. But once World War II was over, a lot of his, it wasn't like a Negan situation where they were like, all right, Negan's taken care of, the rest of you were building a better world. They were like, no, all of you generals and, executors and mad scientists and all of these, twisted people that were operating under Hitler, a lot of them were captured and put on trial, and a lot were executed.
And a lot ended up working for NASA.
Yep.
Werner von Braun, he was a Nazi.
Yep, you're right.
Operation Paperclip, a lot of them, if they had something to contribute, they brought them into the fold.
Right. But maybe, like you said, that would have maybe given some satisfaction to, like, Oceanside and some of these places, like having some trials. Like Arat, you killed Olivia.
Yeah.
You killed the girl's little brother. List their crimes.
So maybe there should have been more accountability. I guess Eugene's kind of like the Werner von Braun of the Walking Dead world.
He really is.
They just brought it. He was too valuable, so they were like, hey, forget about all that stuff. You're fine.
He really is. I mean, now he's just out walking free and doing his thing.
I guess blowing the hands off a lot of saviors at the end of last season.
He did betray them, but at the same time.
He's still got some blood on his hands. Let's keep it real.
There's still people that are dead because of Eugene. Because of his actions. But at the end of the day, he did stop the war that Negan was going to. Negan was going to win that war. That was over.
And Eugene was taken under duress. I mean, there is that. But
and he did give himself up to be brave, something he doesn't do often. When Negan and them were going to kill another person until they found out who made the bullet, Eugene. So, I mean, Eugene's got... I'm just glad to see him back on the right side, because I was getting to the point where there was no return with him. He was He was right at the edge of to where I was going to be like, to hell with Eugene. Even if he comes back, I don't forgive him, but I have.
I still hate that Oceanside executed... What was her name? Ingrid?
You talking about Arat?
Yeah, Arat.
Yeah.
She wanted to be a better person, and
she did. I think that she understood they were wrong, and I definitely don't think it excuses her crimes. But like you said, put her on trial, maybe lock her up alongside Negan or something. But
let's not lie, she was easy on the eyes,
Well, and she was a bit sadistic herself.
Yeah.
But then again, like she said, with I mean, she did look like she enjoyed it sometimes. But the fact of the matter is, she was operating under psychopaths. You got to understand, in these situations, some of these people aren't really bad people, or at least they don't start out that way, but they just want to stay alive. So sometimes, like Daryl said about Merle last season, remember when he was talking to Tara, when he said if Merle was still alive, he left with Merle that time. Mm-hmm. And luckily they got back to Rick and them. But like he said, if him and Merle would have went off and not gotten back with Rick, they probably would have ended up with a group just like the Saviors.
Yep.
And I mean, so there are people that have done bad things that aren't necessarily bad people. I mean, Arat knew, hey, do I want to be like a worker working for points back at the sanctuary, or do I want to be, because that was Negan's promise, be one of my generals and you'll live like a king.
Yeah. At the end of the day, somebody's going to be committing these atrocities. So, I mean, whether it's me or you or whoever, these people are going to die. So, I mean,
it's like Joey. Remember when Daryl escapes and he goes around the corner and Joey is, didn't they call him Fat Joey?
Yeah.
He goes around the corner and, Fat Joey and what's bad is Fat Joey has a pistol. That's what I don't get. Fat Joey had a pistol on his side. Daryl had no weapon. And Fat Joey didn't even draw on him or anything. But, he tells Daryl, he's like, man, I'm just trying to survive like you are. You can go right out that gate. Right now, I'm not going to try to stop you. And then, of course, Daryl beats his head in, which, depending on who you ask, was a huge mistake or the right thing to do. But, it's like some people like Fat Joey. They just, or like Eugene in those scenarios. They are just trying to survive. So Arat did some terrible things, but she probably knew if she didn't do those terrible things, she was going to die. So then it just brings into the question is your life more valuable to other people? Should you be willing to, to sacrifice yourself? So that's a whole philosophical argument there. But yeah, Arat seemed to get it. She knew we're not in charge anymore. She didn't seem to really be plotting on anything. She just was. The only thing I didn't like was she was with that group that came out in front of Maggie and the Glenn lookalike.
Yeah.
I'm like, Arat, which she did help diffuse the situation too, though. She's like, mark him down for a tomato, blah, 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 blah. But I'd have been like on the side of the road when they stepped out in front of Maggie with my hands up like, I'm just looking for our lost savior here. I'm not this little roadblock. I'm just trying to cross the street, Maggie. I know you don't play.
I definitely think she brought more to the table than, I think she brought enough to the table to warrant her getting a pass. Yeah. I mean, she's firmly on Rick's side, so she's got some sway with the saviors.
But think about it, though. I don't know, though. Think about it from that the girl from Oceanside's point of view, man. She killed your 11-year-old brother.
Yeah.
And then, smiled and laughed while she did it. And I mean, it's just like, I do think that, Rick should have detained her, put her away from Oceanside, something. I understand Oceanside never wanting to. I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like, And then you killed a kid. An 11-year-old is a kid. I mean, that's a child, and you gunned down So I mean, it is, and that's one thing, man. That's why I love the comment section. It's going to come alive with this. Did Arat deserve to die? Yes or no? Because, like I said, you're right. She did contribute a lot. She seemed to be falling in line. She seemed to understand that they weren't in control. She didn't seem like she had any plans to try to get back control. She just wanted to survive. And play ball, do whatever they needed to do just to stay alive. She didn't seem to buck back against Rick's control too bad. But at the end of the day, this girl did some horrible things.
She did. But
do you think she does? Tell us in the comments section. Well, and here's something cool, side note, because I really am enjoying discussing the show. But something we've thought about doing, and if you guys would be down for it, then we might do it. I just got to make sure. What we talked about doing is possibly doing Facebook Live while we record this. So, we'll have it recording, but we'll also cut on Facebook Live so that you can hear us live. Are there enough people that would be? Because, we're doing this. This is later than we normally do it, but we normally started at 7, 8, somewhere in that range. Are there enough people out there that would go like our Facebook page and listen live? If there are, please let us know, and we will start doing these live, and then we can get some chat discussion going.
Yeah,
I can have Facebook pulled up, and then for this, I don't have to wait to read the comment section. I could just ask right now, do you think Arat should have lived? And then I could look at Facebook, and we'd have our answer as we're podcasting. I really do like the idea of live podcasting. I wish I'd have said that in the beginning, because I'm sure half people got halfway through listening and we're like, all right, I'm bored. Yeah. But so let us know if that's something you're into, and also let us know, should Arat have lived, or should she have been killed?
Oh boy!
And you think she should have lived?
Yeah, I mean, especially with there's a bigger looming threat on the way. I don't think I have to mention what it is. But
so you're kind of like Negan in that regard of people are a resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't kill no more than you have to. They've committed crimes and atrocities, but more so than killing her, maybe just keep her away from the Oceanside people or whoever her greatest offenses are.
I mean, I think it has to go person to person. Like someone like Simon, I think you got to do away. He's a psychopath,
mass murderer. Yeah. He acted on his own too. There were times where Negan had given him an order, but sometimes Negan's psychoticness, and that's one thing I'll give Arat. At least Arat was always operating under somebody. Yeah. That's something to keep in mind. She wasn't. And see, the thing is, I feel like they were all very impressionable people. I feel like their attitudes were based off of the way they saw Negan act. They saw Negan very big and bad and kind of bully and crack jokes and just be menacing. And so when they started operating under Negan, when they would go to different places, that's how they started acting. They kind of, like I said, were impressionable. That's how their leader acted. So I don't feel like they were all that menacing and evil. They just were doing what they saw work for Negan, And
yeah, I mean, it was essentially a cult. It was a very collective effervescence kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see the arguments in the comments, because I definitely can understand arguments that Arat should have lived, but I can also understand why she should have died. But like you said, like we've said a little while ago, she was always operating under somebody, though. It's not like Arat just went out and just murdered people. Like when she killed Olivia, as bad as that sucked. What did Negan say? Kill somebody. And then, when she killed that kid, she was there with Simon. Simon ordered them to kill everybody. I mean, it is one of those things where if she wouldn't have killed him, Simon probably would have said, so where does your loyalty lie? You don't take orders now, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it could have been very bad for her. And then on top of that, if she would have looked like she regretted doing it, it might have caused problems. Yeah. So it might not, and this is me speaking hypothetically. I'm just going through. I love debates. I don't like to debate because I always like to see I like to go through the different arguments. I like to listen, but like I'm thinking of, ways to justify why she did what she did, but then also you can't judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's early too, and I'm really tired.
Yeah, I feel you.
But, I do understand. So long story short with all of that, I do get kind of where she came from. So I'm not saying it's excusable, but I do kind of understand why she did what she did, even why she looked like she enjoyed it, because she kind of had to.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're a soldier, you follow orders.
Right.
And in that situation, if you're not going to follow orders, you're probably going to get killed along with whoever you were supposed to kill.
Yep.
So.
Or if you follow those orders very, like I said, if she would have not looked, if she would have looked like she really didn't want to do it. I mean, the saviors didn't ask questions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, so I get it. I mean, I do. So, I don't know. Interesting topic in the comments. Should Arat have died? Did she deserve to die? That's a better question. Did Arat deserve to die? Yay or nay? Because it's easy to sit back and be like, she should have fought back. And yeah, but imagine, put yourself in her shoes and be honest and not so high and mighty for a second. Imagine the world's ended, the zombie apocalypse is upon you. It's hard to survive on your own. You find a large, capable group of people who can keep you fed, give you shelter, watch your back. I mean, everybody can be like, no, she should have fought back or just left, but you're not in that situation. You know what I mean? You'd be shocked at what you would do if you were put in some of these scenarios. Mm-hmm. You find out a lot about yourself in these scenarios. And that's kind of what I love about the show, is that there's so many people that are evil that probably weren't evil at all in the regular world. Like the governor was probably a laid-back, nice, chill dude in the modern world. Probably someone a lot of people,
Yeah, after his walkabout, he seemed pretty nice, until he went crazy again.
And then, the zombie apocalypse brought the worst out of him. It's like Negan probably was a shit talker, but he probably wasn't a mass murdering psychopath. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't really a mass murderer so much as he just was a conqueror. Simon was the mass murderer.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it brings the worst out of you. But what do you think?
Good questions all around. I don't know if I can.
We'll rate the episode, and then I think we will call it a day because I am tired. I've got to do a lot of things today, so I'm doing it again. I can't stop. But let us know, A, should Arat have been able to live? B, do you think Rick is actually going to die? It's the moment of truth. Do you think he is? I, for the record, think Rick's going to die. JP, what do you think?
I don't want to say. I'm not ready.
JP's I can't come to grips with it. But what do you think?
I can't speculate.
I got some homework for you tonight. Is Rick going to die, or is he going to be saved? Did Arat deserve to die? And would you be willing to wake up early on Monday mornings to listen to our podcast live? Now, you would still be able to listen to it on YouTube. We would save it and post it. But if you listen live, you could actually interact and chat while we were podcasting. And we could respond to you directly and get some really good Walking Dead conversation going if we had enough people that were going to, get up and follow it.
Mm-hmm. We'll figure these things out.
But yeah, so subscribe for more Walking Dead content. I am not ready for next week. Prepare yourself. That might be a really long podcast. We might really need to just podcast for a couple of hours.
Yeah,
we'll talk each other through the grief because he's gonna die.
It's not looking good for him.
I don't want it, man. I don't want it to happen. Some people are going to be so mad if they leave it open-ended. I'm not. I'm cool. I don't care if they've lied. They've been saying Rick's final episodes, excuse me. I don't care if they flat out lied and Rick comes back at the end of the season. I'm cool with that. At least I got my Rick back,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's done. I feel like it's a done deal. I want to be wrong, though. I will happily. I hope next Monday, I'm sitting here going, I was wrong. Rick, flew off on the helicopter. I'm cool with that. I know my Rick is good.
You're
just not ready.
No. I can't do it anymore.
I bet. Let's rate the episode. Hands under the table.
All right. I don't know.
Bam.
What'd you give it?
4.5. We always alternate between 4.5 and 5 with each other.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot.
It really, like Chris Hartwig said, because I watched maybe 5 minutes of The Talking Dead before I switched back to the ball game. But, I mean, it did kind of feel like a finale or mid-season finale or something. I mean, some people still are hating on the show, and, hey, that's cool, man. If you don't like it, I would advise quit watching it.
Yeah.
Quit following podcasts that enjoy it, but to each their own. But, I mean, it's got their haters. But, dude, I really don't have many complaints this season.
No.
And if I do, they're very petty, and I'm just looking for something to pick apart. I really dig this season. There's questions. There's mystery. There's suspense. There's, multiple storylines happening. It's everything I like about The Walking Dead feels like it's coming back.
Yeah. My mind's starting to wander, and I'm just...
Well, you have to go. You just got done working one job. Now you've got to go work another job.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Let us know predictions, anything. And let me finish this up by saying, remember, we say all the time, we are not experts on this show. So if we get something wrong, I mean, I get to typically watch it once now that JP watches it in the mornings on demand. What is it? Amazon?
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
I get to watch a little bit of it, so I kind of get 2 times to watch it. But, I mean, it's usually bits and pieces between me doing my own on-air stuff. So, we're not experts. I'm
not an expert in anything.
We don't get to get notes
literally
on this. Or, no, I'm not either. I have no field of expertise. So if we get something wrong, just let us know in the comment section. We're happy. We're always happy to be like, oh, hey, we were wrong about so-and-so. I mean, at least now we know.
Yeah.
So, get a conversation going, and we will catch you. We'll get a podcast again this week.
Yes, we will.
We even possibly talked about doing a Shooting the Shiznit podcast where we don't talk about anything in particular.
Yeah.
We'll just do like a what's up, y'all kind of podcast, and we will just literally talk about
no holds barred.
Nothing.
Ask me about anything, brother.
Don't give me that opportunity.
Hey, man,
I have a lot of questions.
I mean, it won't be an interview per se, but I mean, I'm just saying, like anything on the table.
The dominatrix mask I found in your desk. I have a lot of questions.
It's Halloween's Wednesday, man. That's all.
But I found it like back in the summer.
I prepare early, okay?
I mean, that's really early.
If you don't look, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. So I got my Christmas stuff. I just look, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
But what does Andy Griffith have to do with it?
What does he not have to do with it? Okay.
All right. So you want to find out more about JP's dominatrix fiasco? Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do just a random podcast, not Walking Dead themed.
Getting
we'll
to know
just
us.
shoot the shiznit for the few listeners who actually like us and
right. I was gonna say you can only
past The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
For those like 4 that would be like, hey, I kind of like those guys, maybe we'll do that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe once a weekish, we'll just shoot the breeze.
If we do that, I'd rather do it later in the day though, so I have time to wake up.
Yeah,
on these podcasts, man, I am not. And it's so weird. On the podcast, I'll get so lost in thought, but then I'll go on the FM radio and just nail it. But I don't know. It's weird, man. I don't know. But either way, we'll do that later in the day. But we'll see you later on this week. I promise you that.
We
Not
sure
next
will.
Monday. We'll see you later on this week.
Yeah, we might be talking to you, once, twice. Who knows?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, we might do another one today.
Hit that subscribe button for more content. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.
Yep.